With the maps in Dead by Daylight, the number one priority should always be to design and balance every map in the fairest way possible. The overall design philosophy of maps has been a constant pain point since this game was released. However, a lot of progress has been made in balancing most maps. Whether it's reducing the safety of main buildings, restructuring certain tiles, or shrinking the size of some maps, slowly but surely, there have been many adjustments made to pretty much every map that's existed. Even though controversial map changes like the recent palette density update can happen, this doesn't mean that readjustments won't be made. It's reasonably safe to conclude that some maps are in need of additional palette reductions. Who could have seen that coming? But the obvious thing with balancing a game like this is that the job is never done, as maps will always need adjustments as the game changes. And while I absolutely agree that balancing maps is very important, it also feels like the only conversation or focus is about how they are balanced. Sure, every once in a while there's a discussion about the atmosphere of the maps or the map rotation and variety, but usually that's about it. And to be fair, what else is there really to talk about in regards to maps? There is lore you can evaluate, I suppose, but the gameplay each map provides is the core reason why most people care about the maps in the first place. The quality of a map is more than just the gameplay though. There also needs to be aspects that enhance the environment. In other words, make it more interesting. All of this is exactly what leads me to the topic of this video. I believe it's time, and honestly it's probably overdue, for more enrichment and amenities that liven up the maps. In other words, more fun features to interact with. More specifically, the one feature I'd like to see added to every map, at least for every map that it's possible to do, is more animals and wildlife. Currently we have crows on every map, but I'd like to see more animals like the tanuki or Jonesy. I mean, who doesn't find the tanuki adorable? You'd have to be a real hard ass to not take the time and appreciate this precious little creature on the Emoka maps. And what makes the tanuki extra special is that it not only spawns once per map on the edge of the Emoka maps, it also quickly disappears once it is discovered. Essentially, it's not meant to be a distraction during the course of a match, but rather a comforting yet temporary reprieve from the brutality of a trial. If the tanuki was constantly in your face, it would lose what makes it so special. And I think that's one of the main points I want to be sure is very clear about what I'm saying. I'm not talking add swarms and hordes of animals to the game, just something small. When a special feature is always available or shoved in your face, it loses its specialty. Another reason I believe it's time for more animals on most maps is so that this can somehow boost the value of Calm Spirit, as the perk description currently states that it works with woodland creatures. And in my mind, this perk has always left the door open for more woodland creatures to be added to maps. And here's another idea besides just making Calm Spirit more relevant. Why don't we add a twist to the tanuki and any other special creatures similar to it? What if these creatures bestow a special gift for the survivor or killer who finds them? It wouldn't have to be anything too powerful, but just a small little benefit that could lightly impact the current match. I think there's a creative way to make this an ongoing side objective on every map, similar to some of the seasonal events, for example. The benefit would have to be something that's worthwhile enough to go out of your way to find the creature. I think anything that can encourage survivors to spend time searching the map instead of solely focusing on gens is just one way to slow down the match a little bit. One idea that just came to mind: what if finding a tanuki as a survivor grants you something to help with generators, either a repair bonus or some sort of special item? And then for killers, it would be something that would regress or protect gens. That's just one idea, of course, but another idea I just thought of, something similar to all of that. What if as the last survivor remaining, when you find a tanuki, you get a boost to the speed of opening an exit gate, or maybe the tanuki grants you aura reading of the killer, or for the hatch, or the exit gates too. And then as killer, if you find the tanuki during the endgame portion of a match, it gives you free killer instinct on the last survivor remaining, or maybe, aura reading on the hatch so you can go find it before the survivor does. I believe there's real potential for this to help add just a little bit more flavor to every match. And maybe the benefit changes depending on how dire your situation is as survivor or killer. So if you're losing a lot as survivor, you get some sort of benefit that is a lot stronger, and then vice versa as killer. I mean, the core animal that exists in DBD, crows, they already serve as a tracker for killers. Why not add another animal that can give small boosts to either side? And to keep it interesting, the animal could change depending on the map or realm you go to. But, if it's easier to just make an animal the same for every map, then that probably is fine as well. Of course, this is all assuming the amount of resources set aside for balancing maps remains the same, but I'd genuinely like to see more wildlife on every map. There's lots of untapped potential when it comes to subtle map features like this, and if there's a way to somewhat tie any new creatures to the gameplay of a match, that would be a small bonus. And every time I stumble into a tanuki on Yamoka, I'm grateful it was ever added. You're in the wall, buddy. Are you okay? Okay. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.